Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show.
We just got breaking news in.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show. We are back with our weekly minor league update. This is going to be for the final games before the end of the first half in the All-Star break that took place between July 7th and July 13th. We did have a little bit of an announcement. Obviously, you know, the draft just took place, but we did have a little bit of an announcement with the Giants farm system. Von Brown and Jairo Pomares have been released. So those are going to be two of the roster casualties, as the team's going to have to make room for a whole new draft class. Depending on, we'll see how many of I think they drafted 18 players. We'll see how many of those guys they get signed, but they are going to have to make some room. They weren't quite at their limit. I know Kyle Haynes mentioned that a few weeks ago. So it's not like as simple as, if they sign all 18, they have to remove 18. I think they were a little bit under that. So they don't necessarily have to do that many players are going to get released, but we are going to see some guys, whether it's via trades, whether it's just outright releases like Von Brown and Jairo Pomares. We'll see a little bit of that here in the coming days. And, the other thing, and I'm going to talk about this when we get down to like Eugene, especially, this could be a sign that we're going to see a few promotions this week. So, stay tuned there. But starting off with Sacramento, they went 3-3 versus Salt Lake City. They're now 47-46 on the season. Number 3 prospect Carson Whisenhunt, he did not pitch in the regular season in like Sacramento games, but I did take a note. He did throw 2/3 of an inning in the Futures game. Faced 2 hitters, got both out, struck one of them out. And also, you're going to see a little bit of a change in the rankings because I'm going off the most updated list with Baseball America's rankings. So there's a little bit of movement from past videos. Number 10 prospect Marco Luciano, he went 4 for 20, 3 home runs, a double, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Really a 3 outcome hitter last week. Lots of strikeouts, lots of walks, lots of home runs. He's now hit 19 on the season. He has the organizational lead in home runs, but he's also got a 30% strikeout rate. But he also walks 15% of the time. So kind of a 3 outcome hitter right now. Some team is going to take a chance on him. Wouldn't shock me if he turns into a productive player at the major league level down the road. It's really hard to envision it with San Francisco, but you never know. With Mike Yastrzemski as a free agent next season, maybe Buster Posey and co will kind of say, all right, Bob, we're gonna let these 4 young players kind of battle it out and see who wins the job. So you never know. There's a chance there, but I do think ultimately I feel like he's going to probably be a trade piece at some point. Number 12 prospect Grant McCray, he went 11 for 27, 2 home runs, a triple, a double, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, 4 stolen bases. So we saw the strikeouts, obviously. We saw the power, obviously. We saw the speed with him. You kind of get the full package with Grant McCray. He's, I mentioned if they're going to let some guys compete next season for a job, he's probably on that list. He's a guy that I would probably view as the favorite, though with the shift kind of organizationally you're seeing with Buster Posey taking a lot of, high contact guys, it makes you wonder if he's going to value Luis Matos a little bit more than he does Grant McCray. But Grant McCray brings the defense and the speed. So, it'll be interesting next season, but I mean, he feels like he's been putting up crazy numbers the last month or so. You just wish the strikeouts were lower. Number 13 prospect, Mason Black, 5 innings pitched, 200 runs, 4 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts through 76 pitches, 50 of them for strikes. Number 14 prospect, Trevor McDonald, went 3 1/3, 8 earned runs, 7 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 70 pitches, 47 for strikes. Yet again, he's been struggling quite a bit the last couple starts. Still, I think he can make a great reliever, but they're continuing to let him develop as a starter, which makes sense. He's still younger, but at some point, I think with him now being on his 2nd year of being on the 40 man, he only has 1 more minor league option year after this. At some point, I think they're going to have to say, all right, is this in his best interest to continue developing this way? Or do we need to start looking at him as a reliever? Or they might look at him as a trade piece. We're getting up to the deadline, so you might see some movement here soon. Number 18 prospect, Trent Harris. He also pitched in the Futures game, but he did throw one game during the week. Went 1 inning, gave up 2 earned runs, 3 hits, no walks, and a strikeout. Struggled in that one, but he actually shined in the Futures game, threw an inning, no earned runs, gave up 1 hit, no walks, 2 strikeouts. So showed out there. I'd love to see him get going. He's been struggling in AAA. My opinion is unchanged on Trent Harris. He's one of my favorite reliever prospects in the system, but he's probably second behind one other guy that we're going to get to in a little bit, as far as next in line to come up onto the big league bullpen. Number 19 prospect Carson Ragsdale went 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 8 hits, a walk, 6 strikeouts through 87 pitches, 61 for strikes. Number 20 prospect Carson Seymour. He pitched 2 games. He's been shortened up a little bit. They're not having him go the full starters load. They put him in the bullpen in San Francisco for a couple outings. Now he's back in Sacramento. They didn't just throw him back in and have him go with 5 to 7 innings anymore. So he threw 2 games, went 3 innings in each of them, but combined 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. Number 21 prospect, Wade Meckler. He went 6 for 20, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, high contact, a lot, hits for high average, kind of similar player to some of the guys they drafted. I do think guys like Keelan have more power than Meckler, obviously. And I think Keelan's obviously a better defender than Wade Meckler is. So certainly way more upside with those players, but the similar bat to ball skills and bat profile there. Tyler Fitzgerald went 7 for 22, a walk, 5 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Still not showing a ton of power. That's something that's really vanished since last season. That's something we all love to see out of Fitzgerald. But it's good to see him at least swinging the bat pretty well. And then Braxton Roxby, for those of you that don't know, he is the reliever that the Giants acquired in the Taylor Rogers trade with Cincinnati prior to the season. He was great in Richmond, got called up to Sacramento, and since he's been in Sacramento, he has not given up an earned run. This week, 2 games, 2 innings pitched, no earned, no hits, 2 walks, no strikeouts. Obviously no strikeouts in the 2 innings this week, but he is striking out like 10 or 11 per 9 right now in the minors on the season. So he's got a really nasty slider. I could see him, and I think like a mid-90s fastball. So I could see him actually ending up in the bullpen sooner than later, especially how he's throwing. But he is right-handed. That might not be what the team's looking for currently, but you just never know with the deadline and with potential injuries and things like that. A lot can change. Moving over to Richmond, they actually had, I don't know who had this on their bingo card this week. They had the best record in the system for last week. They went 5-1 versus Akron. They were 32 and 53 on the season. They have quietly played way better for about a month. So they're not good, but they've quietly played better for about a month, or they might even have a winning record, I think, over the last 4 weeks. But number 7 prospect, Diego Velasquez, he went 9 for 24 with 2 doubles, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Nice to see him get going a little bit. Number 8 prospect, Joe Whitman, he went 6 innings, an earned run, 4 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts through 70 pitches, 48 for strikes. Really nice to see the slider working for him. The command was much better in this game. He's been very up and down, and I'm not as high necessarily on him as a pitcher as I was prior to the season, but this is one that we should all keep in mind, that he only threw really 1 season in college. So he very inexperienced for a college draftee. So pretty raw still. His stuff is still really good. I still feel like his floor is a really good reliever, but as a starter, I need to see the command tighten up on a consistent basis. Number 24 prospect, Jack Choate, 4 innings pitched, earned run, 4 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts through 82 pitches, 45 of them for strikes. Similar to Whitman in that, pretty good stuff. Strikes out more than a batter per inning. But the command has been pretty spotty on the year. when his command is on, he pretty well dominates, but when it's not, he gives up a lot of walks, gets behind in a lot of counts. When you're behind in counts, you give up a lot of loud contact. I mean, you all know how that can trickle down. So if you can tighten the command up, really solid arm, has kind of a lazy delivery with a live fastball that he likes to throw top of the zone. The velocity isn't super high, but with the delivery, he's got kind of a lower delivery or lower arm angle, I should say. And he gets, a lot of carry to it. So only running at around 94, but similar to Madison Bumgarner, that 94 at the top of the zone does generate a lot of whiffs. Sabine Ceballos, the number 29 prospect, 4 for 22, a double, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a stolen base. He's continuing to struggle down in Richmond, unfortunately. Adrian Sagasti went 3 for 19, 2 walks, strikeout, 2 stolen bases. Kind of interesting that their catcher had 2 stolen bases this last week. But I like Sagasti. I like him as a backup in the future, potentially. Rough week for him offensively. He had actually been swinging it really well for about a month. So hopefully he can turn that back around. Isn't going to probably put up any eye-popping numbers. I've liked the increase in power we've seen out of him this season, but realistically, he's probably capped at like a backup catcher. O'Neill Perez, 0 for 4, a stolen base. Only played in 1 game. I'm not sure if there was an injury involved or not. Moving over to Eugene, who in High A, who went 4-2 versus Spokane. They're now 48-38 on the season. And this is where we might see, I think, a little bit of movement down in the lower levels. As I mentioned earlier, Vaughn Brown and Hyro Morris in AA, they just got released as of today. They are 2 outfielders that were taking up spots in AA. The AA roster only has 9 position players right now. So who makes sense to come on, move on up to Richmond? Well, let's start off with number 4 prospect, Bo Davidson. Went 6 for 20, a triple, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a stolen base. He's amongst the league leaders in batting average in Eugene. He ranks among the leaders in OPS in Eugene. He's amongst the lead leaders in like extra base hits and, a whole bunch of categories in Eugene. He has simply been dominant at that level. He deserves a promotion. So he's the first guy that I could see doing. I'm going to go a little out of order here. The second player I could see getting a promotion is Scott Bandura. Now, this past week didn't have his best week, but if you look at the season numbers, he's been pretty dominant in Eugene, and he actually played in Eugene a good amount last season as well. He's got a ton of at-bats in Eugene at this point. He's 23 years old. It's time to move him up as well, in my opinion. But he went 6 for 29, 2 home runs, a double, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. He's pretty high up on the list of stolen bases in that level, and also amongst the lead leaders in batting average as well. So to me, that's 2 outfielders. Ship those guys up to Richmond. Let's go get those guys, 8-9 weeks in AA, get them a big jump start on next season where they can, rack up 200 plus at bats at that level. So that way you don't necessarily feel like they have to spend the entire next season at AA. If they earn a promotion after 200-300 at bats next season, get them up to AAA. Let's get these guys rolling, but get them the experience they need in the upper levels. And then number 27 prospect, Josh Bostic, had probably the best performance between him and the next guy we're going to talk about, had probably the best performance in the entire minor leagues this season or this week. He went 7 innings, no earned, 4 hits, no walks, and 12 strikeouts. He threw 83 pitches, 69 first strikes, only threw 14 balls the entire game. His delivery, it's a little bit off balance at the end. It almost looks like the way he pitches, you almost feel like he shouldn't have really any idea where it's going, the way he finishes his pitches. But he when his command is on, he's got a really good fastball and a really good curveball, and he gets a lot of whiffs. So I like his stuff. This was definitely his best outing of the year, and he's had like 3 or 4 outings this season that have been just otherworldly dominant. So lots of upside with that arm, bit of inconsistency, but had one of his best performances this past week. And then Charlie Zacconi, who he has been on an absolute tear. I think I looked at his numbers going back to about May 27th. I had been mentioning for the last few videos that, it felt like every week he was just, the numbers had just been going up and up and up. And I remember looking and going back at about May 27th or May 28th, he was hitting 213 and he had about a 650 OPS. Well, he's now hitting over 260 and he has it over an over 800 OPS come mid-July. I mean, he's been on that kind of run. And this last week, he went 9 for 25 with 4 home runs, a triple, a double, and 3 strikeouts. He told us in the offseason that they felt like, he's a big guy. He's like 6'5", 200 plus pounds, big dude. Um, and Will Clark told him, like, you're a big guy. Time to start hitting like it and get the ball a little bit. They needed to get it a little more airborne. He hits the ball really hard, obviously. Well, it's paying off for him. Last season he hit 6 home runs between A ball and high A. With the 4 he hit this week, he's at 13 on the season, and they still got 2 months. So it's not unrealistic to think that he could hit 20 plus this season. And he's really turned his season around. He is a bit of an older prospect. He's 25 in high A, but I'm excited to see what he can do when he does get up to like double A and triple A. Like, I feel like in double A, he's one of those guys that has the ability to have success in that league. Now, then again, I said that about Sabine Ceballos, and we've all seen how that's turned out this season. But I really like Charlie. I like his game. And he's another guy that I hope we see promoted sooner than later. Wouldn't shock me, though, if he plays the whole year in high A. Drew Kavanaugh, he went 1 for 5, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. Only played in 2 games. Another guy that I'm not sure if it was injury involved in there. They're not listed on the 7-day IL, but we'll find out soon enough. Jonah Cox, 7 for 26. He hit 2 home runs, a double, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts, 2 stolen bases. Strikeouts continue to concern me. He had like 2 or 3 weeks there where he had cut those back a lot, but for someone like him, similar to like how we've looked at Grant McCray and some of these other players, simply just strikes out too much. He really, with his speed, he needs to get the bat on the ball. So that's been kind of a disappointment, unfortunately. Quinn McDaniel, he went 3 for 16, a home run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Shane Rademacher, 7 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, a walk, 3 strikeouts through 76 pitches, 54 of them for strikes. Greg Ferrone went 3 innings, 7 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Last couple starts have been really rough for him. He's, new level, new challenge. We'll see how he bounces back. A lot of season left, so he's gonna have lots of opportunities to figure it out in high A this season. And then moving over to San Jose. And before we do that, I appreciate all the support you guys give this show. We've been growing like crazy. If you do enjoy the content, you enjoy these minor league videos, please do hit the like, hit the subscribe, click the bell. As we've mentioned in the past, we're going to do these videos every Tuesday during the season, live shows every Thursday. We're going to try and work out some interviews and different things like that, getting more players on. We had 4 or 5 of them last season. We've got a whole bunch that we're looking to bring in this coming off season. Lots of players that have said they'd love to jump on after the year ends. So we've got a lot of guys that we're going to try and line up for you guys. A lot of great content to come. So if you do enjoy it, please do hit that subscribe. And moving over to San Jose, they went 3-3 versus Fresno, 57-30 on the season. Best team in the system by far. Number 6 prospect, Dakota Jordan, 6 for 21, 3 home runs, a walk, 5 strikeouts. Continues to just dominate that level. Now, that said, Saturday, he took a fly ball. I didn't see any kind of anything that indicated he was injured, but, went back on a very routine fly ball, squared up, caught it, jogged in, and Giants hit in the bottom half of the inning, or the top half of the 7th, I'm sorry. And then he didn't come back out. He got subbed out. So, and then he did not play on Sunday. So I don't know if he got injured. Unfortunately, minor leagues aren't great about sharing those news. I'm hoping that maybe he's getting a promotion to Richmond or to Eugene. Maybe they're going to do that shuffle that we just talked about, Brown and Pomaris going, and Davidson and Bandura, where the hope would be that those 2 are going to move up to Richmond. Well, that would leave a hole in Eugene's outfield. So hopefully we're going to see Dakota, him get some time up in Eugene. And that's why they pulled him, and not because he's injured, but it is something to keep an eye on until we see him play again. Number 15 prospect, Jacob Bresnahan. He went 5 innings pitched, 1 earned, 1 hit, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, 73 pitches, 48 for strikes. I feel like I've been saying it for 2 months now. The kid can absolutely deal, and he has dealt, and we're probably going to, he's a guy, he's 20 years old. Maybe we see him in Eugene this season. Maybe they hold off. There are a couple other guys in San Jose that have been doing well that are a little bit older. Maybe those guys get the promotions first. We'll see, but he's really been really good. And I feel like he's got kind of sleeper upside to be a top 100 prospect. Carlos Gutierrez, our number 16 prospect, he did not play again this week. Sounds like he's been dealing with a back injury. Number 25 prospect, Jeremy Maldonado went 3 innings, no earned, no hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. He's quietly having a really good year, mid to low threes ERA. Does battle some command issues. They've been kind of handling with kids' gloves a little bit, limiting him to 2 to 3 innings. He's been starting most of the games, so I'm not really sure if they're going to try and develop him as a starter or as a reliever. But explosive arm, triple digits arm, big time wipeout slider, big time stuff. So I think he could be successful either way. I'm not sure if his endurance would allow him to start, though. That'd be the big question. Luis De La Torre made his San Jose debut. He is their number 26 prospect. Went 4 innings pitched, no earned, 2 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts through 70 pitches, 44 for strikes. He's someone to keep an eye on. Lefty, 20 years old, just now making his debut. Had some injury issues that kind of slowed him down. I believe he signed late as well. So as an international free agent. So we'll see as far as how quickly they move him, but he dominated the complex league. He's now, it's only 1 start, but really good in his debut in San Jose. So someone to keep an eye on. I'm really excited to see him start more games. A lot of these guys in the complex league, I can give what the scouting report says and hey, here's what they say about their stuff. But until I get to watch these guys game in and game out, it's hard to have too strong of opinion. So really excited to see him start more games. He looked really good. Did fight his command a little bit at times, but he didn't walk. He only had 1 walk in this game, but struggled to put hitters away a little bit. So wasn't the most efficient outing, but still really, really good. Jacob Christian, 4 for 21, 2 doubles, a walk, 8 strikeouts. The strikeouts have been kind of a little bit of an issue for Jacob, but as a 6'5" player, that's probably always something that he's going to be dealing with. You just hope that he can keep it in a manageable range. 27%, I think, is where he's sitting right now. It's probably a couple ticks higher than you want. If he can get that down about 25%, I think anybody would live with that, with the power he's going to provide. And he's really good in like RBI situations as a run producer. So you take the good with the bad, but as a taller player, it's just something you're going to inevitably deal with. Xander Darby, 4 for 17, a double, 3 strikeouts. Not his best week, but Xander's had a really, really good season overall. Maui Ahuna, 4 for 18, 2 doubles, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. He's someone that I think we're going to end up seeing moved up to Eugene here soon. I mean, that week, obviously, it's not the best week of his season, but with them drafting Keelan, with the complex league ending in Arizona here soon, I do think they're going to need to move some shortstops up. You'll probably see a few guys go. I think a guy like Cole Foster in Eugene is probably going to end up getting released. He's hitting like 140 in Eugene, and he's struggled for multiple years in a row now, a little bit older. I could see them kind of moving off of him, moving Ahuna up, and then getting Keelan to San Jose. Unfortunately, we might not see Johnny Level in San Jose this year. I really want to, but they might just wait until opening day next season. So I think we're going to see a little bit of movement here in the next couple of weeks. Robert Hipwell, 4 for 13, a home run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He hits homers and he draws walks, and the strikeout rate's pretty high on the season. But overall, like, he's been one of the most productive hitters in San Jose. He took a long time to get a home run this season, and he had a couple doubles off the top of the wall. And now he's up there amongst their the team lead in homers, and he's got a near 900 OPS. He's been hitting the ball really hard, and he just barrels it up, and it's going to be interesting to see his development. I mean, it's another guy that we're saying, like, I want to see the strikeout rate get down, but also you're seeing the theme with last year's draft class. It's totally the opposite of this season. Last season they went out and got a whole bunch of power and a bunch of guys that have some swing and miss that are going to strike out, but they hit the ball hard. And this season, it's kind of the opposite. Not a lot of guys that hit many homers or anything like that, but tons of contact ability. So it could be that they're trying to balance out the system. Who knows? In the upper levels, are kind of lacking a lot of guys like they see in San Jose with all the power, but it's an exciting team to watch. They do strike out a lot, but down in San Jose, they hit for a lot of pop. Lisbel Diaz, he had a rough week, 3 for 26, a double, a walk, 8 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Walker Martin went 3 for 16, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Jeremiah Jenkins, 2 for 17, 4 strikeouts. You look at the offensive performance this season, you can tell why they went 3-3. This is a team that's been just completely, utterly dominant in that, in the California League. This last week, they really struggled. And, you look at the offense and you can see why. A lot of guys had tough weeks this past week. And then Nico Mazza, he went 6 innings, an earned run, 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, threw 76 pitches, 47 for strikes. And then Hunter Dryden, he went 4 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 69 pitches, 37 of them for strikes. Moving over to the Complex League, where Johnny Level, their number 5 prospect, went 3 for 21, a triple, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, and a stolen base. Arhanis Kayama, he got moved up to number 9. That was a big mover on the updated list. He went 3 1/3, 2 earns, 3 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. From a statistical box score standpoint, probably his worst outing of the season, which kind of says something because it wasn't really even that bad. Just a little bit, a little rough in a shorter outing. Number 17 prospect, Keener Martinez, he went 4 2/3, no earned, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Similar to De La Torre, I could see him getting some appearances in San Jose this season. He is about 20, bit older, so I could see him moving up to San Jose before long and them trying to get him some run. Number 28 prospect, Rainer Arias, he went back down to the Complex League, went 3 for 11, a home run, a walk, 3 strikeouts. He really struggled in his stint in San Jose 2 weeks ago. They sent him back down to Arizona, and he had a okay week, but it's unfortunate that they had to move him back down. But we'll kind of see. He went like 1 for 25 in San Jose, so they might just be wanting to reset him a little bit. The Complex League season ends in about a week. The regular season, they'll have the playoffs after that. It's usually a very short playoff, and then we'll see if we see him back in San Jose. Number 30 prospect, Oliver Tejada, had his best week of the year, 9 for 21, a triple, 3 doubles, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a stolen base. And then let's move over to the Dominican Summer League. Number 2 prospect, Joshua Gonzalez, he went 3 for 21, a double, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, 5 stolen bases. That might be the most productive 3 for 21 I've ever seen. I mean, the guy gets on base and it's like you're just basically walking him right to second base because this guy, he already has like 22 steals on the year in the Dominican. Doesn't have any homers to show for it yet, but absolutely explosive player. And he's kind of getting talked about around baseball as potentially like in the minors. Like it's not ranked appropriately yet because he's only in the Dominican, but there's talk that he could potentially end up being like one of the best table setter prospects in baseball. And you can see why he gets the Jose Reyes comps a little bit. Number 24 prospect, Alberto LaRoche, 4 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. He's been pretty dominant in the Dominican League as well, sub-1 ERA. And then Gene Macaras, 3 for 20, a double, a walk, 3 strikeouts. And then Julian Barreto, 7 for 21, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, and a stolen base. So that'll wrap it up for this week's minor league update. Appreciate everybody jumping in here with us. Like I mentioned earlier, if you do enjoy it, please do hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll be back with our live show on Thursday. And, go Giants. We'll do a little bit of a second half preview. And, yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.